Right, let's see if we're live. Looks like it. Right. Okay, that's being shared. Hello, boys. Right. Whilst we're waiting for everyone to join, let's go through what the standings were doing before this round. So we have Mercedes of Claus in first place heading into this round. So he's got half of the wins out of all the races this season. He's got 97 points already, and 14 points behind him is Deco with 1 win. And then Aero is in third place. He's 21 points behind Claus, and he's got 4 podiums out of the 6 races in that Z4. Then you have quite a big gap of 23 points down to Jin in the other Mercedes. So both of them are at the top of the constructors' standings by 45 points as well. So that's a very impressive start for them. Yeah, and then 5th place is Cameron, who didn't score any points last week. He is just 1 point behind Jin. So let's go through the grid. So this is Tier 3 Round 4. We're at Dragon Trail Gardens this week. Haven't been here for quite a long time, actually, so it's nice to be back. Very tricky track to learn, not one that drivers will be too familiar with. But yeah, let's go through the grid. We've got SD all the way at the back, P15 in the Honda NSX. We know that this is quite a decent car as well. It's got very good tyre wear, good fuel, and very fast at the top end. And it has great brakes, I learned this week, because one easily outbroke me into a corner. Then we got Zimmer in P14 in the Mitsubishi. He'll be, he's kind of qualified around this position a fair bit this season, so not too hot on the qualifying. Deco in P13 in the first Lexus, and Monty in the second Lexus. So Deco is at P2 in the standings, and these guys are second in the constructors. So for both of them to be outside the top 11 is a bit of a surprise. Then we got Yuri P11 in the first of the Toyotas next to his. Actually, is he? No, he's not. I can't find his teammate. His teammate's way further up. So yeah, P11 for Yuri. Jin in P10. He's 5th in the standings, so is used to being a little bit higher up on the grid. He's qualified 2nd for the first 2 rounds. Then Jidan in the Porsche in P9. We've got Shergi in P8 in the Nissan GTR 2013 version. We got Gunmad in the Z4, the only Z4 on the on the grid. He's got a target on his back after what happened in Largo. Senior fact, great qualifying for him in the Audi. The Audi seems to really like this track. That's his best qualifying, I'm pretty sure. Pasti, much better form, qualifying P5 in the Toyota, so the lead Toyota this week. Claus only managing P4, so he was setting some incredible laps. So I'm quite surprised to see him only qualifying in 4th place. And then we got the top 3. We got Cameron, who has a couple of race wins actually. He's in the Genesis X, which he's done well to qualify at that high. I'm not sure this track is the most suited to the Gen. Then Otto in P2, a great qualifying for him in the Mazda. It's easily his best result in qualifying so far to be this far up. And then we got Higgsy in P1. So Higgsy, it was basically at the top of Tier 1 pace in qualifying in terms of the lap time that he set. I think it was massively faster than anyone in this tier, faster than anyone in Tier 2 as well. And I think he would have been top 5, potentially top 3 in qualifying if he'd set that time in Tier 1. So yeah, massive bags of pace coming out of seemingly nowhere. He's quite high up in the standings, but Claus has dominated tier 3 so far, and Higgsy's just turned that on its head potentially. So expecting big things from Higgsy in this sprint race, definitely. Claus saying he screwed his qualifying a little bit. Okay, that's fair. So let's get the lights on. We've already got 4 lights, 5 lights on. Sprint race, 10 laps, 15 minutes, and away we go. Looks like a fairly decent start there from Higgsy and Auto. They're quite... Oh, and Claus actually gets a great start in the Mercedes, and Cameron gets a good start as well. So we're potentially going 4 wide into turn 1. Auto seems to have won the battle, getting on the inside line of turn 1 with Claus second, Higgsy down to third. Senor Fak having a great start as well. He's challenging Higgsy into the chicane. Really tricky to go side by side here, but it looks like they're getting away with it. And yeah, so it looks like P1 Auto, P2 Claus, then Higgsy, then Fak, and Pasty's come into picture now as well. Let's ride on board so we get a little better camera angle. He's going to have to tuck in just behind Fak, but he might be tempted to go for a little dive here and get the move done under braking before we hit the hairpin. He's got the inside line for the corner, and that should be a fairly easy position there for Pasty, with Jin just tucking in behind, so he's up 4 places from the start as well. Cameron's fallen all the way to 7th after being on the outside of that corner, but he's going to challenge Shergy and make sure he keeps that position at least. But Shergy's keeping his car in, and he's got the inside line for the next corner, but Cameron just had a little bit better traction. It looks like Pasty's all wobbly, he's lost P4, and there's some... I don't know what's going on, but Pasty's gone very wide there, and Fak he's probably kept it on the track. I don't have a clue what was going on. And Jin has swooped it to P5 ahead of Pasty. Shergy just behind him and potentially challenging for a cheeky position. Pasty goes very wide into this final hairpin, and Shergy just swoops on through. Cameron might try to follow him. There'll be a drag race down into turn 1 as we finally finish lap 1. Quite a lot happened in that lap. Key thing is Auto is leading. Our championship leader Claus is in P2, and then Higgsy, who was on pole position, actually shuffled down to P3. Cameron has the inside line for turn 1, and Pasty really holds it well, but Cameron gets a bump draft from Jidan behind him and is going to have the inside line for the chicane. They have to be very careful not to come together. Pasty takes the corner incredibly well, and Cameron, there was nothing you could do. Pasty goes very wide there, but rejoins and is a little bit slow on this back straight on the run down to the hairpin. And Cameron looks like he's going to get that position, so he's up to P7. Pasty going backwards in this sprint race. Let's see what's happening a little bit further forward. Higgsy looks like he's off track. He's trying to challenge Claus and get an overtake done, so he's clearly got a little bit better pace in this section of the track, the S's section, before we head down to the 1, 2, 3 quadruple right-hander, which is coming up just now. Let's ride on board with Higgsy, see how he takes it. Auto's not really managed to get away. He's probably 2 seconds ahead at this moment. And yeah, Higgsy couldn't get the slingshot out of the quadruple right-hander, so isn't that close to Claus, but he's got a good chance at this hairpin to gain a chunk of time if he gets the right exit. It looks like Claus got a slightly better exit there. Claus has actually closed the gap to Auto a little bit as well. A little bit further back, Senor Fak kind of on his own in P4, Jin in P5 trying to chase him down. Shergy settled into 6th, Cameron 7th, Zimmer 8th, and where has Pasty gone? So we saw Cameron get past him at the hairpin, so something goes very wrong. He's coming under a little bit of pressure from Zimmer here. And Zimmer pushes Pasty off. He's tried to save it, and that one did actually end up in the steward's room. I did have a look at that one today. So yeah, not the greatest of side-to-side action there between those two. And yeah, Pasty's at the back with some pretty bad dirty tyres trying to negotiate the right-hander, and it's not working. And now he's going to spin it out. Oh, that's quite sad. At the front anyway. We rejoined exactly where we left off with Auto in P1, Claus P2, Higgsy in P3. Let's see if Deco can start making some progress up the grid. He's only in P9 at the moment. He's P2 in the championship, so he needs to definitely make a little bit of progress, but he's not that close to Zimmer. Actually, his teammate's right behind him. So these guys struggling in qualifying and struggling to make a lot of progress through the grid in the sprint. We got Gunmad outside of the top 10 actually. I think he qualified 7th, and that might explain why he's outside the top 10. Right, let's get a good camera angle. I see Gdan down in 12th as well, so he's been in the wars, trying to chase down SD, who of course started last from qualifying. Deco is going to go for a move on Zimmer, who's managed to get himself a penalty for cutting one of the corners, and that was a great overtake from Deco. Zimmer had nowhere to go, and he had to completely back out of his corner. Monty might fancy a little look at him as well, and if he doesn't, he's going to get him at the penalty line, which is after the quadruple right-hander here. Oh, he's got to keep hold of it, and he just about does. That's the... Oh, Andy nearly loses it there as well. And that's allowing Zimmer to actually just drive away from him, and he could potentially keep the position. It's only a half-second penalty because Monty lost traction there going right through the corner. Monty's thinking about a dive and he backs out of it, but Zimmer goes wide all on his own anyway, and Monty just swoops through up into P9. A little bit further up, we've got a battle between Cameron and Shergi, and it looks like Cameron's going to get this move done and move up into P6. Yep, he got it fairly comfortably there. What about a little bit further up? Higsy has got past Claus. Let's see when that happened. Oh, Claus actually overtook Otto as well, but he's got a second penalty, so they're both just going to swoop right past when he serves it, and he rejoins in P3 just ahead of Senor Fak. So let's see what is happening now. It looks like Higsy's going to try and move on Otto. Otto still quite late on the brakes himself, so he manages to keep Higsy behind, but it definitely looks like Higsy's qualifying pace has returned in the feature. Doesn't quite have the fastest lap, but he's been stuck behind other drivers the entire race so far, so if he could get past Otto, he could get the win and the fastest lap. Senor Fak's actually catching up to these guys as well. The last lap for Otto was a 32.6, not the quickest. You should be aiming for 31 solidly if you want to be winning the race, I reckon. They're all nose to tail as they exit the final hairpin at the end of the 4th lap, so we've still got 6 to go, so this is by no means over with how close these all are. Higsy is closing the gap down the straight as well, taking full advantage of the slipstream because the Mazda is slightly better in a straight line. Higsy going really wide on the exit allows Otto a tiny bit of breathing space as we head into the chicane. And Otto really brave over the curb, so this is a constant battle the drivers had to have with themselves, whether to risk taking the curbs on that chicane, which is a lot quicker, or stick to the rumble strips. And yeah, Otto clattering over the curves, but did extend a little bit on Higsy down the back straight. Let's see what's happening a little bit further down. Anything's happening. Cameron's caught up to Jim quite well, and he's completely dropped Shergi. Then there's quite a gap to Deco, and there's all sorts going on here. Monty's dropped down from 10th to 11th, and Gdan's worked his way up pretty well, and Zimmer seems to be holding everyone up. Remember, he started P14, had a great first lap, and now he's starting to get caught by some of these drivers again. Gdan's not quite close enough to have a go. Oh, Zimmer clatters the side there on the entry. Does that give him damage? No, it doesn't have any damage. Now he's definitely in slipstream range there. Look how close he is to Zimmer. He's going to have to try a move into turn 1 if he can be a little bit braver on the brakes and get the apex. He does stick his car there. Zimmer allows him the space, and that's going to be quite a straightforward overtake for Gdan as long as he avoids getting retaken into the chicane, and he doesn't, so Gdan should be able to put in the laps now. What's going on at the front? Looks like Higsy's trying to move around the outside of Otto, and he's gone very deep, so that's giving Otto the opportunity to get past again, and he's got the advantage going into the next corners as well. Squeezing Higgsy a little bit to the right as he, takes the better line. And now Claw's coming into play, actually hits the back of Higgsy, and I think that was a bit of a mistake, coming in a little bit too hot on the drivers that were fighting in front. So Otto survives once again and keeps his P1. Claus might have a little run on Higgsy here. He's definitely in slipstream. Kind of backs out of it there. So lap 6 done, and Otto is still in the lead. Senor Fax is in with a shot of the podium here as well. That'll be great on it. He's on his debut season, and he's in quite an unfancied car, but he's really doing pretty well in this round. Oh, Claus goes off track, but manages to rescue it. Jin's still just ahead of Cameron behind as well. Senor Fax definitely got a run on Claus here. Claus must have got the exit of the corner all wrong, potentially clattered the bananas. Claus going defensive into the corner. And Senor Fax is going to go really deep, far too deep actually, and Claus is going to keep that position fairly comfortably. A little bit further up, Higgsy all over the back of Otto. They've dropped Claus a little bit now. Higgsy on course to set the fastest lap as well. So these guys are bang on the pace, pushing each other along. Claus has dropped Senor back a little bit now as well. So there's just nothing he could do on that lap, just pretty much stayed the exact same distance behind Otto for the entire time. And he couldn't set the fastest lap. Looks like Monty and Yuri have been in the battles in this race, finding themselves pretty low down in P12 and P13, which is not where you'd expect these two to be. Thought Monty would have a little go at Yuri, but Yuri's managing to drive away from him now. So really the only close battle is the battle in the top 3. Claus is catching up to Higgsy and Otto once again. So with 2 and a bit laps left, this is going to be pretty close. Higgsy really close to Otto. Otto got the hairpin wrong there and lost a chunk of time to Higgsy. Otto's doing very well to cope with the pressure. It's not easy having a driver this close behind you for so many laps because you can't make a single mistake. Otto's lived up to that pretty well, but he's got to do it for 2 more laps and then he's got the tier 3 victory. It would be his first win at this level. Obviously Higgsy's won previously this season. Pretty good exit there from Higgsy compared to Otto. He's stayed fairly close to him. Claus isn't that close, but he just couldn't get alongside before the turn, and that's been his problem the whole time. That's the best place to overtake, unless he goes for a move here. He's incredibly close. Pushing Otto through the chicane there. And this might be his best chance of the race to get Otto, but Otto's still driving away from him here, unless he's going to be really late on the brakes. And Higgsy's gone for it, and it's been actually a beautiful overtake there. Let's watch it again, because he's not alongside. He moves alongside under braking. Otto gives him the room. He sees him coming, and there's nothing Otto could do there. Higgsy takes the place. And Claus is going to follow through as well, actually. So Otto having a nightmare in that hairpin. He's going to try potentially keep it alongside Claus, but he can't. Claus takes the corner. Also needs to keep his head cool now because he's driving like he's pretty angry that he's lost those positions. Still on for a podium. Now the question now is, can Claus close the gap to Higgsy now that Higgsy's got free air, or is Higgsy going to just drive away on this final lap and secure the win? Claus going very wide, also doesn't get the corner very good either, and Claus going sideways on exit. But he's done just enough for now. And we've got Senior Fac in P4 starting his final lap. Jin and Cameron still not able to get past Jin, so similar to the battle in the lead, Jin has kept Cameron behind for several laps now. You see Cameron took that corner much better than Jin, but couldn't do anything about it because Jin's car was in the way. This will be Cameron's final opportunity really to get a move done. No one ahead seemed to be battling for position either. Cameron taking a much wider line to try and get a better exit than Jin. And he's not going to be able to get alongside. So I think that's pretty much it, done and dusted as we head around the final few corners. So let's join Higgsy. He's definitely dropped Claus, and it looks like he's going to be setting the fastest lap of the race, 4/10 up already with 1 sector to go. So that's what he can do when he's in clean air. He didn't have any clean air for the entirety of the race until this final lap, and yeah, really cruising in Dragon Trail. Definitely the quickest guy on the grid in this tier, the quickest in most tiers. He's crossed the line for the final time, just about. P1 for Higgsy, Claus takes P2, Auto and P3 in the end, decent result. Senior Fat gets his best result, P4. Jin in 5th, just beating Cameron over the line. Deco P7, Jidan is actually going to get 8th, and then a battle, well, Shirky's fallen backwards here. He's going to get P9, and Zimmer gets pole for the feature race. Then we've got SD 11th, Gunmad heading off Yuri and Monty, so Gunmad actually got past both of them. And then Pasty, we saw in the wars earlier, his front right tyre is completely dead as well. He is going to cross the line last, which we've seen before this season. And there he is. There. Right, that is the sprint race done. Now let's go watch the feature, which is going to be a wet race, apparently. So this is going to be exciting. Right, let's find it. Claus shared that one, so hopefully there's a little bit less lag on it. Exciting is a good word for the feature. Okay, so it's definitely wet. Let's see what the situation is. Okay, so it's Inter's wet, almost at the crossover for full wet tyres. So let's see who's actually starting on what, because these guys will know what the weather was like when the lobby was reset up to the point of the race starting. So it could have got even wetter, it could have got drier. That's something that these guys had to think about, because it might be worth staying out on the softs if it's not too bad, but it does not look like soft weather to me. So Zimmer is starting on the inters, same as Shergy. G-Dad's starting on the mediums, okay. Deco is on the softs, right? These guys are the ones that will be going backwards at the beginning. Cameron on the intermediates, as is Jin. Mediums for Senor Fac, softs for Auto, intermediates for Claus, mediums for Higgsy, our race winner. We got SD on mediums, Gunmad on softs. Yuri is on intermediate, so expect him to be popping up into the top 8 on the first lap, I think. Monty on softs and Pasty on intermediate, so an opportunity for Pasty here to get towards the front of the grid despite starting in last place. So, my prediction is it's going to get dry, and that's why some of these have started on softs. But it'll be a tough couple of laps if it stays like this. Let's get going. 26 laps, 40 minutes feature race. The reverse grid from the top 10 in the sprint race. Zimmer on pole position on the intermediates. Let's see how these guys tackle the run down into turn 1. G7's already in the wall. Deco's following him. Oh dear. And what's happening a bit further back? Higgsy's already got in the pits, but what he's going to find is that he's going to drive straight through the pits because you cannot pit before the race starts. So this is a big mistake, and he's just driven straight through. But he's still going to be ahead of some of these guys because G-Dad has span again. Let's see what's happening a bit further back. Deco's in the wall. SC has only just crossed the start line. Let's go all the way back to the start and look on board with Pasty because he started in last place, but he's on intermediates. This is carnage. Look at them. They haven't even started yet, and some of these cars are a little bit twitchy under the computers. Monty's just about avoided spinning, but yeah, there is Gunmad spinning. Pasty's already up into P12. Going to overtake Higgsy into turn 1 because Higgsy's in the pits. There's Deco in the wall. There is Gizan who's about to spin again, and Pasty's up to P9 now. Senor Fak ahead of him is on dry tyres. There's a car in the barriers there. That's Otto, who was leading the sprint race for such a long time. Right, and Pasty is up from 15th to P7 before the first chicane, which is turn 2, by the way. But I think that is all of the soft runners, the dry runners past, and a little bit further up, Claus is already battling Jin, and there's a huge battle for P1 into turn 1. Claus just nudges Shergy out of the way. That wasn't very good. Let's rewind that and watch it again from a better angle. There we go. So there is Claus challenging Jin. He's going to be a little bit too late on the brakes here and just clatter Shergy through the corner. Shergy's trying to right his car, and he does so, but Claus lets Shergy back through, and Jin also gets through. Past both of them, actually. Meanwhile, Cameron has taken the lead of the race. Zimmer down to P2, but still doing a solid job on his first lap in wets in ALR as well. Let's go down to the slick run. Alright. Let's see what's going on. Otto seems to be the best placed slick runner, potentially because he's on soft. Softs do fare slightly better in the wet. Then we got these guys really slow. So Monty and Gunmad, I don't know how they've got 3-second penalties. Probably corner cutting. Higgsy is in the wall there. And then a little bit further up, G-Dan's spinning in a straight line. Otto's off the track. And Senor Fak is cruised into the lead of the race of the dry runners. He actually keeps the car on the track there through the hairpin as well. A little bit further back, Gunmad going very slow into the corner. Otto just overshooting, but saves it. It is nearly time, despite what you can see, to cross over into the softs. The track is drying very quickly. If you just look at the water gauge when they're on the solid track, it is reducing pretty much every corner when they're not on the rumble strips. Okay, we've only got 12 left, so some people have left, which I did hear about. So they did get a little bit fed up on lap 1. So these guys could potentially just stay out on the tyres that they're on and hope that the track dries, because if they pit for Itis, they'll just have to pit again fairly quickly. Let's see what's happening at the front anyway. So Cameron in P1, Jin's moved up into P2, and Zimmer, let's see what's happened to Zimmer, because he was a solid P2. He's going to get overtaken by Jin at some point. He just got that corner really wrong, and Claus is going to try and overtake Shergy as well into the quadruple right-hander. And both of the AMGs make progress there. And let's go forward a little bit, because we saw Claus having a go at Zimmer. So this is just the end of lap 1. We've been on this race for quite a while, just watching different different points of view. I have been there. I think everyone in ALR has been there at least once in a race where you don't fully understand what you need to be starting on, and you end up taking 5 minutes to do lap 1. I once got lapped in a sprint race because I started on softs and it was a heavy wet track because it ended up drying. Anyway, a good overtake there from Klaus as long as he can nail the apex here. Looks like he has as well. So really solid overtake there from Zimmer. Now Sergey and Yuri are pretty close behind. Then you got past your P7, so the top 7 and the rest are definitely quite different. Senior Fak in the pits. Gunmad decides to carry on, as does Auto. Is Monty gonna come in? He doesn't know what to do, he's stayed out. And Deco is still on lap 1 here. He is a couple of corners away from getting lapped. So is he going to come into the pits? He is as well. He's going to put the inters on. Okay. Meanwhile, here's Cameron with a huge lead now over Jin. I'm going to say that's 3 or 4 seconds. But then everyone else fairly close together. So this top group of 7 really sticking with each other. Pasty's just a little bit further back, but he did start back in 15th. Yuri going very, very wide there and loses a bit of ground to Sergey in front. Sergey might have a little run on Zimmer here. Oh, it was so tempting to go for it, but the gap was always closing by Zimmer there. So Sergey has to stay P5 for now. Oh, they got 3-second penalties because they passed under yellows. Ah, that is brutal. Now it makes sense though, but I guess those 3 seconds didn't matter too much. Okay, Sergey's got another run on Zimmer here. Is he going to be braver on the brakes? Zimmer does turn into him there, and yeah, I don't know about that one. That was a weird one. Let's ride on board with Yuri and see from his point of view what it looked like. Yeah, Sergey just didn't get enough alongside, to be honest. And then Yuri just barged past him as well. Just getting bullied out of positions here, Zimmer, in Tier 3. Now, let's see. What is Gunmad doing? It is pretty dry now. Gunmad has this lead driver out on the softs. He is more than a pit stop behind the top 7, though. Quite comfortably. So staying out is the right thing to do when you're starting on the softs, but starting on the softs was definitely not the right decision. Fac's not too far behind him. He's still on the inters, so he's going to have to come in himself. I think he made a pit stop to go on the inters, actually. And now it's nearly time to go back onto the softs, just a lap or 2 later. He's lapping fairly similarly to Gunmad. Oh, well, Gunmad's going to lose it, actually. Oh, dear. He saved it quite well, actually. Auto might not be able to get past him. Auto stayed out on the softs as well. Gunmad just went on the rumble there, which is a lot wetter than the track, which is why he ended up spinning. Quite a way ahead of Deco, who's the last person. So we've only got 11 drivers left after the shenanigans of lap 1. This is a very good race, by the way, it's got to be said, for the Mercedes boys. They're in P2 and P3 at the moment. The question is going to be for these guys, when are you going to pit for the softs? And why is Yuri down in P7? Has he already come in? He hasn't. He's had some sort of incident. He goes for a move on Sergey. And now there's a yellow flag for some reason. And then Zimmer kind of bumps him off the track a little bit, and he's going to lose it like that. And that is how he went down to 7th. Okay. So, end of lap 4. Oh, wow. Zimmer's got the penalty as well for that incident that we just saw, I think. So he'll be serving that and losing a couple of positions. Pasty really abusing the curbs, trying to get a good exit, but Sergey is the one that got the better exit. He's sniffing a P4 here now. Going purple, so the intermediates are still going purple. Jin on the inters still has the fastest lap as well. Let's see what Senor Fac's doing. If he's going to be up or down, I can't tell. Good Maz. Deco's 4/10 up, so the softs are about 3/10 quicker by the looks of things. But yeah, let's see. Zimmer's still managed to stay ahead of Shurgi. Pasty's got a 3-second penalty, and Zimmer's got a 3-second penalty, so that's going to give Shurgi a lot of breathing space. So let's just see this penalty play out, and then we'll see if anyone's actually going to go into the pits yet. Yeah. And Shurgi, away he goes. Is Cameron? Cameron is going into the pits. He thinks now is the right time to put on some dry tyres. Jin is following him in. Claus is following him in as well. Shurgi very, very wide at the hairpin, losing a lot of the time that he gained on the other two when they were serving the penalties. He's going into the pits. Zimmer's decided to stay out. Okay, risky strategy. Let's see how it goes. And Pasty has as well. Yuri and Fak both on inters as well. So let's see what happens to them. Yuri's continuing. Yeah, it looked like he was going to potentially cross the pit line. Fak's a long way behind because he's already made a pit stop. So let's see what everyone comes out on. Softs. Inters for Zimmer and Pasty, and softs for Cameron. So Cameron still in P1 after making his pit stop because Zimmer was that far behind him. So I guess the pit loss time on this track isn't too bad. You can just see Cameron, oh, he gets a half-second penalty. I was going to say he's driving away from Zimmer, but potentially that's because he cut the corner. Then just behind Pasty's on the inters as well. So let's see how Pasty does compared to Zimmer around this fast section. Zimmer definitely got better exit from the hairpin. Zimmer loses a little bit of traction going over the rumbles, which you can see is kicking up water. So Pasty still, well actually, Zimmer's struggling a bit there, but Cameron's definitely not ahead of him. So as long as Pasty comes into the pits, oh, Jin had a bit of a mistake we could hear. As long as he comes into the pits now, well actually he's probably going to join down in 7th. Everyone's not that far from each other to be fair, still. Cameron's got a great opportunity to extend quite a big lead in this race. Yeah, Pasty's coming in. Jin on the soft is going to try and hunt down Zimmer. Zimmer's going for another lap on the intermediates, so I don't think this is a good idea. The water gauge is only a 6th full now on the racing line. That is definitely not intermediate weather. I'm expecting Jin to get the pass done fairly soon, to be honest. Yuri also in the pits off his mediums. Jin having to be a little bit more careful in the chicane than Zimmer did because he is on the softs. He's gone purple by 1.4 seconds so far, so yeah, definitely soft weather now. Oh, he's having to lift because Zimmer's car's right there and going really slow around the hairpin. Oh, he's going for it around the outside and Zimmer just keeps it. And now Claus is going to just get past Jin. It looks like Jin let Claus through. Claus is going to get quite impatient behind Zimmer. He wants to get back into P2 and try and chase down Cameron. He actually makes a bit of contact with Zimmer, which isn't great. Jin's going to retake Claus as a result of that. So that's not worked out well at all for Claus. The aggressiveness that he was trying to get that overtake done. And now Jin's going to potentially get past Zimmer here. Jin's on the slightly wetter part of the track. He's trying to get onto the dry patch, under braking, and Zimmer's going to go a little bit wide. Claus goes very wide, and Jin's going to hold the traction and get P2 off Zimmer, and Zimmer's going to carry on once again. So he's not thinking that the inters are worth getting rid of just yet, but he's going to be losing a lot of time because these guys are lapping super quick now. The fastest lap at 32.3, which is kind of the pace that they were setting in the sprint race in the pack. 34.5 for Shurgi, so he's still being a little bit more cautious than Cameron is. And then at the back, it's worked out pretty well for Gunmad. He's in P8. Then you got Auto, Senor Fak, who's on the hard. So why are you on the hard tyres? Oh dear. Maybe he's trying to go all the way to the end of the race and do 20 laps on these hard tyres. Let's see how that works out. And then Deco all the way cut off at the end. in P11. He's actually been lapped by Cameron already as well, but he hasn't been lapped by Jin yet. So Jin's a comfortable P3, Claus in P4. Actually not keeping up with Jin at the moment. Excuse me. Zimmer. And then you got Shergi in P5. Coming under a bit of pressure from Pasti now. Yeah, really struggling here to stick with Shergi with the dirty air coming off the rear of that car through the corners. Pasti trying a different line to Shergi, trying to get a better exit and a run. And there's Zimmer losing a lot of time on that lap on the intermediates because the track is bone dry now. So he's definitely left it way too late before coming into the pits, and he's probably going to be regretting that because he's definitely going to be in P7, potentially opening the door for Gunmad to overtake him. It looks like Pasti's just been shoved off a little bit there. Let's watch that again from Shergi's point of view, because that looked very marginal. It could be something to do with the track still being slightly wet offline. Shergi just goes too wide and punts Pasti into the wall there. So not too great for Pasti. Pasti's got damage as well. Zimmer's actually going to come out in P6, so he still managed to stay ahead of Yuri. It wasn't as disastrous as I thought it was going to be, so I take that back. There's potentially 20 odd seconds gap between Yuri and Gunmad. Okay, so what's the lead looking like for Cameron? He's going purple again, so he's beating his own fastest lap at the moment. He's got, well, he's just coming out of the quadruple corner, and Jin is about to take the first exit apex right now. So that's quite a decent gap for Cameron. Now what's going to happen here? Jin is in a great position, considering his qualifying wasn't one of his best, finding himself in a podium position, but he's ahead of his teammate who is in the fight for the championship, but he's kind of in a fight of his own, especially with Deco not doing too well in this race. And Higgsy actually quit the race on lap 1. He was one of the ones to start on the medium tyres. So maybe Jin's not feeling as generous as he would otherwise be in letting Claus through. We'll have to see how this one plays out. Oh, just look how much better Claus got. Went through that chicane. He's definitely going to get alongside by the apex, potentially get the move done. He's also got purple as well, and he's ahead, and I think Jin's just going to let him have the corner. Yeah, Jin actually mounts the corner as he goes through it. And now we've got Pasti on Shergi again, so Pasti's already caught back up to Shergi after that little bump into the wall. And Pasti goes really deep into the apex, and Shergi's going to take that position back. So Shergi doing incredibly well. He did really well in Nürburgring as well. I think he finished 6th in the feature race there. So he's potentially going to... This would be his best finish in ALR if he could keep P4. Very impressive, to be fair, because that car that he's driving is not very good. Pasti went for a look, but couldn't get alongside. Shergi goes really deep, and Pasti just sweeps through, takes P4 quite comfortably there. That was a great overtake by Pasti. Really pounced on the mistake by Shergi, who went a little bit too deep into that final hairpin. So yeah, P5 for Shergi, unfortunately for him. A little bit further up, Claus is already dropping Jin. There's about 2-second gap between them. And Claus actually has the fastest lap with the 31.5, and he's going nearly 2/10 quicker again already. 31.5 was also what Cameron did, but half a tenth slower. So he's definitely responding to the threat from Claus, and there is a huge gap as well, definitely over 10 seconds between these two. So Claus will be hoping that Cameron gets a penalty or has a mistake, otherwise he won't be able to close the gap. Pasti just starting to drive away from Shergy now as well. So Senor Fak is lapping in the 34s on these hard tyres. Also, you might notice, yeah, 34.1 there, the tyre wear for the rest of the race, it's going to be fairly low. When it's been raining, the track tends to be quite good for the softs and lasts quite a few laps longer than they would if the track was bone dry from the beginning. Back's about to get lapped actually. Yeah, there's Claus. So any battles going on? Is it going to be a difficult one to commentate because half of the people started on the wrong tyres? Gap was 14 seconds at that point. Okay. Tell you what, let's ride on board with Cameron and see how he takes some of these corners. He's got fairly worn tyres, by the way, so he's definitely going to have to pit at least once before the end of the race. So he goes down into second. Some cars stay in third in that corner, and some stay in second. It's kind of recommended that you stay in a higher gear to take more speed through the corners. But Cameron's extracting a lot of pace out of this Genesis, so what do I know? Some people choose not to take the first apex of this hairpin and go wide to get a tighter and faster exit, but I haven't seen that strategy used in this tier. So still in the 31s for Cameron. Claus is coming through the final turn now to start his next lap. Claus is definitely going to have to make a pit stop as well. His tyres are looking fairly shot, especially that front right, which struggles due to corners like this one that we're going through right now, taking a lot of tyre life out because it's such a long sweeping corner. Pasti's come into the pits, so he's decided he wants to make a pit stop. I wonder if it's going to be mediums to the end. That's my prediction. Stick with him, so he's going to lose a spot to Zimmer and he's going to lose a spot to Yuri. Oh, actually, he might not lose a spot to Yuri. Yeah, Yuri's fairly far behind him, so Pasti is behind Zimmer. He's going to have to overtake Zimmer again on track fairly soon, but that was a decent pit stop. He's got onto the softs again, so he's going to make another stop before the end of the race. So these drivers on multiple stops already, whereas Gunmad hasn't even stopped once, and he's still got fairly good tyre life. Also quite a long way behind Gunmad. We've got Fak did a medium, intermediate, hard strategy. I don't think that strategy's ever been done in ALR before. And I'm not sure, he might have to pit again, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's enough. Claus come into the pits as well, so he's decided that he wants to get off these soft tyres. Jin follows him in. Jin's with 1% extra fuel, so slightly better on the fuel economy than Claus. He's put in less than half a tank, so that should see him to the end now that we're on lap 13, and he's on soft, so he's going softs to the end. Jin's going softs to the end. Pasti potentially going softs to the end if he's going to be short shifting. His fuel is a little bit low for 14 laps left of the race though, to be honest with you. And he's still trying to hunt down Zimmer, so his last lap was the 32.6, Zimmer's was the 33.8, so yeah, Pasti definitely has a lot better pace than Zimmer at the moment. They're both on the soft tyres, but Zimmer's are starting to wear just a little bit now. Great cornering there on the exit from Pasti. Took the bumps perfectly, didn't even look like it affected the car at all. Gunmad finally into the pits. I wonder if he's going to come out ahead of Auto. Potentially just losing one spot to Auto. And Cameron comes in the pits now. So in the dry, the optimal strategy is what is it? Well, it's soft. It's doing 8 laps on softs and then 2 stints of 9. So these guys are going to try and do potentially 13 laps on the softs. Unless, no, are they? That can't be right. If they do that, that's crazy. If they pull it off. I mean, the track is bone dry, but it's not wearing the tyres as much as it should. But 13, 14 laps that these guys are going to try and do? No, I don't believe it. Zimmer and Pasty have very similar fuel left as well. Pasty having to push Zimmer through the corner. And he's decided to try something different with his line. That definitely didn't work. He's still fairly close to Zimmer. So Claus comes out in second, Shergi is third, and Jin is fourth after those pit stops. Shergi still has to come in, as does Zimmer. Those are the only two in the top 7 that haven't come in. Is one soft stint technically allowed? What, as in you just do the whole race on soft tyres? No, you have to make a tyre change, that's in the rules. Pasty losing 1.5 seconds, stuck behind Zimmer on this lap. That's quite massive. Yuri's only maybe 5 or 6 seconds behind him, so he needs to get a move on Pasty. Looks like Jin got past Shergi. Let's rewind and see where that happened. So it's at the hairpin, Shergi goes deep, and Jin just swoops past. Actually, Shergi manages to get ahead going into the corner, but goes wide through the corner. He had the right to take the apex, but didn't do it. And that is why Jin is back in third. So back to where we were. See if there's any battling going on. Gunmad already catching up to Auto pretty well here. Auto's front right is completely dead. So that is why Gunmad's catching up to him so quickly. This last corner before he enters the pits might be a little bit tough for Auto. Yeah, he goes wide because he's got nothing left. And there we go, Gunmad is going to be back up into P8. Decent race for Gunmad considering how it started on the softs. Ooh, Claus has caught Cameron massively. So what's happened to Cameron? He did a 1:59 a lap ago, so he's had a huge mistake. I actually want to go and see it. So go back to lap 13. Oh, it's because he came into the pits. But how? No, that still doesn't explain how come Claus called back up to him. Claus, tell me in the comments. Anyway, we've got a battle for P1 now, actually. It's potentially because Cameron's put on the mediums, Claus has put on the softs. That's probably got something to do with it. Claus is set at 30.9 as well, getting himself a half-second penalty there, which we saw him serve. So despite that half-second penalty, he's not really lost that much time to to Cameron. God, these two confusing me. And they've completely dropped Jin as well, so Claus has definitely moved forwards. Oh, Cameron put more fuel in. And that's because Cameron's going to try and go to the end on the mediums. His Claus is going to do another pit stop, I reckon. Shergi in the pits. This will be his final stop of the day. Completely red mediums. And he's going to refuel. Yuri's going to come past. Looks like Yuri's going to have to hit one more time though before the end. So Pasty's still stuck behind Zimmer. Both of them are going to have to pit again as well. I think it's getting quite clear now that's going to have to be the strategy. But yeah, Zimmer's holding his own in P4 right now. And Cameron's got a penalty now. So Claus had the penalty. Actually, Cameron's behind Claus now. God, there's quite a lot of happening all of a sudden in this race. I wasn't prepared for it. And yeah, Cameron's just struggling. Cameron's just struggling through every corner at the moment. And he gets a penalty for his troubles as well. Claus is going to swoop past into the hairpin. And Claus wide though, that's going to open the door again for Cameron to try and get past, but Claus has better traction on the exit. These mediums are just not working out for Cameron at the moment. Potentially they are too cold in the weather. Potentially get weighed down by the fuel as well. Claus is going to drive away from him, and Claus is in a great position now. If he can build quite a big gap on Cameron before the pit stop, he could catch up to him by the end of the race. We've got 10 laps to go. I'm going to say at the moment it is still advantage Cameron, because I don't think he's going to have to stop, and Claus is going to have to stop. Claus is carrying on for now. He's got plenty of life left in those tyres. Jin carrying on as well, and Zimmer might be thinking about making a pit stop fairly soon. He's got Pasty all over the back of him as well. His tyres are slightly worse than Pasty's, so that's going to give Pasty a little advantage as he's got to run down the pit straight as we head into lap 17. And he's got the inside line, and that looks like a good overtake, but is Zimmer going to get the cut back? Because Pasty went really wide through that corner, and Zimmer's got the inside line for the hairpin. Not the hairpin, you know what it is. And Pasty gives Zimmer a little love tap and says, no, you're not having this position. I'm finally getting P4 and I'm going to start driving away from you now. Just a bit of a scruffy hairpin there for Zimmer, is allowing Pasty to start to drive away there. Any more battles going on through the grid? Well, Deco's actually catching Auto here, is he? No, he's not. That is a car that's just lapped him, never mind. Well, he's keeping the pace with the front runners because he's being lapped, but he's not letting Cameron get away from him. Also on the mediums, Deco, so he's going to the end. But yeah, Claus continuing for another lap. Jin is also going to follow the same strategy. Is Zimmer going to come in now? He could potentially go on for a little bit longer, but I think now would be ideal. And he's got an opportunity now to undercut Pasty, who's carrying on. So Pasty setting a 33.4. Not the fastest on that lap, his first lap in clean air, but his tyres are pretty shredded at this point. Shergi getting past Zimmer as well, so Shergi on mediums to the end. Zimmer is going to probably be on softs to the end, so he could potentially catch Shergi. Maybe a 6-second lead for Shergi at the moment. Yuri also coming in, he's going to probably put on softs. Gunman might potentially get past him. It'd be quite insane if he does. Oh, it's so close and he's done it. He manages to just get him on pit exit. That's insane. That is insane. Gunmad incredibly brave there, and he manages to pull it off cleanly and stay ahead of Yuri. Now Yuri's got a headache because he's got a car that has been behind him all race, in front of him on track, with neither of them needing to make any more stops this race. And Gunmad positioning his car well there under braking. Yuri couldn't do anything about it. And something's happened to Auto, he's all the way at the back. Well, maybe he's just getting out of the way of the cars that have lapped him. So, Claus is going to have to come in fairly soon. Pasty's coming in now. So remember, we left Shergy a lap ago to try and get the undercut on Pasty. Let's see if he's going to manage to do it. Pasty will be on slightly fresher tyres. He's had to refuel, at which he's still putting fuel in. And he's just coming out of the pits now. So Zimmer retakes that position off Pasty, and Pasty's going to have to overtake him once again in on track. Meanwhile, at the front, Claus is lapping in the, well, he did a 32.2 the lap before, so that stopped his progress a little bit on Cameron, who was actually quicker than him on lap 17. On lap 18, he was a fair bit slower. I think Claus needed to build a bit more of a gap, because he surely is going to be pitting this lap. I'm just going to release Cameron back into P1. Jin, I'm sure, is going to be following, yeah, and then you've got Shergy all the way, but he's too far back. These guys are still going to come out in P2 and P3, I'm sure of it. Shergy's way too far back to be challenging for the podium at the moment. Pasty's a fair way behind Zimmer at the moment as well. So, our championship leader is refueling. He's put 50% fuel into... I don't think he needed 50%. You've got 6 laps left. Let's see how much Jim puts in. 42%. I don't think they they were able to do the maths. But Shergy actually comes out just behind Jin there, so it was a little bit closer than I anticipated, but Jin has the faster tyres, the fresher tyres, and the ability to drive away from Shergy now, as long as he doesn't put any make any missteps anyway. Yeah, nothing Jin could do about it. What about Claus? Where's he come out? So I want to say he's about maybe 10 seconds behind Cameron at the moment, that he's going to have to try and lap. Well, he definitely is going to have to lap more than 1 second a lap quicker than Cameron. He's definitely got the tyre advantage. He's got fresh softs now. He was already quicker than Cameron before he pit on quite worn softs. And Cameron's on fairly worn mediums for the rest of the race. He's lapping in the 32s. Claus is going to have to lap in the 30s consistently. We know he can do it, because I think if he can catch Cameron, overtaking him might actually be the easy thing, because Cameron's tyres are going to be shot. And Claus should have plenty of life even at the end, because he's picked quite late here. Let's see, is any... Yeah, Jin's starting to drop Shergy now. Zimmer is just in a solid P5. Pasty's starting, yeah, he is half a second a lap quicker than Zimmer, so he could potentially catch Zimmer and get P5 at the end of the race. Yuri is ahead of Gunmad at the moment as well. They've got quite a gap to Fak on his hards. He's still going, he hasn't pit. He's actually one position higher than when he made his pit stop as well, because Auto's had a bit of a mare. Gunmad has come in. I'm assuming it is to put on some tyres that aren't soft. Oh, actually, he can do put on another set of softs. I'm lying. I was getting a bit worried that he was going to do a soft strategy, which I know Auto Ration's done, but Auto's also at the back anyway, so a minute penalty is not going to mean much. So the soft strategy for Gunmad, which is the optimal strategy in the dry. Clearly not the optimal strategy today, though. Meanwhile, Cameron's lapping in the 33s now, 33.4 that last lap. He did have to lap Deco by the looks of things. Claus's first lap was the 31.8. He has to be in the 30s, and then he'll have... he's in the 31s. He was 2 seconds a lap quicker that lap. So he is the guy that's flying. He was also a second quicker than Jin there. Shergy down in the 33s, as is Zimmer, and Pasty in the 31s. So Pasty closing in nicely on Zimmer there. Bell thinks the gap's too big for Claus to catch Cameron. It might be, but if anyone can catch the leader in Tier 3, I think it's Claus. He just has to put in qualifying laps for the rest of the race. Passy really closing in on Zimmer quite well here. Ooh, Zimmer clatters the bump on the inside there, but actually gets a much better exit than Passy, who tried to navigate around it. Gives him a bit of breathing space. Let's see what Claus is up to. So this is going to turn out to be a fairly good week for Claus if he stays in P2 anyway. Not winning, but 2 P2s and extending his championship lead quite substantially if it stays as it is. Cameron having a much better week than last week, obviously. He's performed very well at 3 of the 4 rounds, but Claus has performed very well at 4 of the 4 rounds, so that's how it tends to go. This lap is going to be, is it going to be in the 30s? No, he's still in the 31, so 31.4 compared to a 34.5 for Cameron. So Cameron is, well, he's actually holding up Deco. He was further ahead of Deco last time we checked on him. And he's potentially letting the mistakes start to creep in as the tyres lose their grip. And maybe he's thinking a little bit about that victory as well. It is a real thing. Zimmer's come into the pits again, so he's going to pit and potentially join behind Yuri and Gunmad. Claus has to just keep nailing these corners. He's shredding his tyres, like. That front right is already looking a bit unhealthy. I'm really keen to see what happens with when punctures are brought back, because last time we had punctures, once a tyre got below 50%, there was a risk of it getting a puncture if you drove too aggressively, for example. And tyres get below 50% after a couple of laps in a lot of tracks in our tyre rules, so potentially the softs might be unusable if it goes back to that in the feature race anyway. Really wide there from Claus. I wonder if that gets you a penalty. I'm not quite sure. Looks like it doesn't. So if that last time we had punctures in play, there was a lot more pit stops in feature races, and this is under 4 times. And there were hards was a viable strategy because you could do a 1-stop on the hards, whereas on other tyres might have to make more stops, and you know how long some of the pit lanes are. The time loss is not worth it in some tracks. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what happens. They said there's going to be a physics change as well, which last time there was a physics change, the way you drove completely changed. So I wonder if it's going to be that major, or if it's going to be just a few tweaks. We have to wait and see. We don't know what PD have up their sleeve. See on the minimap, the gap is definitely closing. Cameron does have 2 cars between him and Claus as well, which is obviously quite helpful for him because he's got, you do lose a little bit of time lapping cars, it's just what happens. Jin is just a solid P3, Shergi in P4, Pasti getting a half-second penalty. Zimmer having to come into the pits, and it looks like he put in a bit of fuel and didn't put on any new tyres. So I think he just underfueled, and that's why he had to come in late. Still came out ahead of Yuri, who's just ahead of Gunmad, so he's not really managed to break free. Gunmad on fresher tyres as well, so he might be fancying P7 before the end. They both really did all that he could to avoid making any contact with that chicane there. Oh dear, that's... Well, he did well to keep it on the track. Let's see what's happening further up front. Oh, looks like a really dodgy corner there for Cameron, and Claus is just coming into it now, so I think the gap must be about 4 seconds. We've only got 2 laps left though, So I don't think it's going to be enough. Cameron's also just holding up Deco massively. Deco's been stuck to the back. I think he's a bit scared to try and go for an overtake on Cameron. Cameron's tyres are completely dead now. Deco's getting a little bit impatient because this is incredibly slow pace. And it looks like Auto's going to catch up to these guys as well. So Cameron's going to have to do one more lap on completely dead tyres. This pitting for the medium strategy seems to be working, but this must be pain for him right now. He's got Senor back ahead of him that he's about to lap as well. Deco looks like he lost a little bit of traction on the corner exit. You've got Claus just finishing. He was about 6 or 7 seconds behind Cameron there, starting the last lap, so it does look like Cameron's got just about enough in this one to get the race win, but it's definitely one where he can't be affording to make any mistakes at all. He's pretty much being pushed down the road by Deco there, who wants to get an overtake done on Senor Fak, and Senor Fak, because he let Cameron through, is going to give up that position to Deco as well. I don't know if he's going to realise that that was Deco there, but he's just lost a couple of points by being too courteous, basically. And Otto's actually joined as well. This is the final lap. These guys are a lap down, that's why it shows that they're on 25. But yeah, let's stick with Cameron because we are on the last lap. He has let Deco unlap himself, so Deco's going to actually finish this final lap in a couple of minutes' time. Otto's managed to get past Senor Fak as well, but he's gone wide there. So it's all happening on this last lap. Fak's rear tyres are nearly completely gone as well. As you can see, Cameron just coming through these final corners. He's going to take a really great feature race win here. He was the runner-up in Tier 4 a couple of seasons ago. Didn't have the best season last season, but he's really improved this season, getting some great results, and this is another one. Did the perfect strategy for the weather as well, despite the tyres being completely dead. That didn't matter because it worked out for him in the end, and he's going to take a great victory. P1 for Cameron, P2 for Claus. So he's extending his lead in the championship once again. Jin is a little bit wide, but it's not going to matter because he's going to complete the podiums. Another podium for Jin there. I think this might be his best feature race performance in this season. Shergi has kept P4 pretty well here, so yeah, really solid result for him to come home in P4. I think that's his best result in ALR. Pasty P5 much improved from previous weeks this season and last season and the season before, so he'll be glad to be finishing in the top 5. Zimmer, definitely Zimmer's best result in ALR as well. Going to take P6. And kept up with the fast guys in the drying conditions. Gunmad is going to be our first finisher from the guys who started on dry tyres, so he did the soft strategy, and it's worked pretty well for him considering the situation that he found himself in. So P7, he's actually beating one of the drivers that started on intermediates. Yuri is going to come home in P8, so he's got his race all wrong, which is kind of exemplified by that joining him and he's not even on the track. And then we're going to have Deco just rounding the final couple of corners, going to take P9. He unlapped himself on that final lap there with Senor Fak and Otto already finishing in P10 and P11. So yeah, fairly good week for Claus. Great, you know, extending his championship. Great week for Mercedes, extending their lead in the championship as well. Halfway through the season, next week we're at Spa. So see you then.